A Texas prison story. Title: You Scratch My Back and I'll Scratch Yours. So I'm in the Texas prison. I'm classified as a field worker. A field worker is a person who is healthy enough to go out to the fields and do work detail, where we would be led out and oversaw by prison guards who rode horses. These were real cowboys, and this was real slavery. So, this is my first time in prison. So, I learned that when you're in prison for the first time, you don't ask a lot of questions and don't let nobody know that it's your first time. You learn by observing. Me being from Jackson, Mississippi, had never been around no Mexicans. I only saw Mexicans on TV or when I went out of town somewhere. But Jackson, Mississippi is mainly made up of blacks and whites. The work detail in the fields, you had various details. Sometimes you may go out and cut down trees. Some day you may pull and burn brush. Some days you may go out and take a 10-pound garden tool, and Aggie, and clear off a section of land called a cut, where you would take the Aggie and cut down tall weeds that was infested with snakes, rats, spiders, ants, all type of stuff. But when we finished with that section of land, it would look like a Yazoo lawnmower had went across it. And then some days we would actually do gardening work, where we would get out in the fields where they were growing stuff like potatoes, corn, greens, things of that nature. And I can't forget, that's what this story is all about. Okra. I hated the okra, and I'll tell you why. So I learned very fast that the okra was hell, because the okra produces a little sticky hair-like fiber on its plant that's very irritating, like fiberglass. So you got 94, 95-degree heat, you got sweat, and then you got these fibers that you're really unprotected from, and it just have your whole body just itching all over. Now we out there in this 95-degree hot ass Texas heat in this inchy ass okra field. So by federal law, they have to make sure that we cool down, and if it's too hot, that we do not go out to work. This day was hot as hell, and we was out there in that okra field working. They send a water wagon around. The water wagon has 5 faucets on it where you go and take a water break and get a drink of water. So it's water break time. The inmates line up, and 5 at a time go over to the water wagon, bend over to the faucet, and take a drink from the water wagon. 5 more inmates go up there who are Mexicans. I'm standing at the back of the line. I have not went up there yet. The Mexicans get up there, all 5 of them bend over at each faucet and take a drink of water. But before they raise up, there's water that has hit the ground from the water wagon, from the drinking faucet, that makes mud. These 5 Mexicans bend down and take a handful of mud up, go stand back in the line and take the mud and rub it on their arms and around their faces. Now again, I'm being observant, so when it's my turn to go up, I do the same thing. I get up a scoop of mud after a cool drink. I take the mud, I put it over my face and on my arms, being observant, because I figured out real fast that this must prevent the stickiness and irritation from the fibers of the okra plant. So I learned that this is a common practice amongst the inmates, that the inmates do this all of the time, and that the field bosses really have no problem with it. But for some reason on this day, our field boss Rainwater, had a problem with it, and he instructed us to remove the mud from our faces and our arms. Don't know if he had a bad night the night before. Don't know if he caught his wife cheating. Don't know if he had a hangover. I don't know. I'm just really learning the system and I'm new to everything. So it's back to the okra field. We get back out there in this heat. We itching, we scratching. I'm talking about it just pure hell. Then all of a sudden, we hear some commotion. We look around, and there goes the horse. Something to spook Rainwater's horse. He falls backwards on the horse. His foot is caught in the saddle, and he can't get it loose. That horse is dragging his ass about a mile down through that okra field. The other field bosses see what's going on, and like I told y'all in the beginning, these some real cowboys. They pull up on the side of his horse, Rainwater horse, grab a hold to the reins, and get Rainwater up off of the ground. Now, Rainwater has been restored back to duty. He's sitting up on his horse trying to be cowboy tough, like he's really not bothered by the situation. But we keeping an eye on him. While we working, we talking and laughing amongst ourselves because that okra was tearing his ass up. You hear me? That okra was itching and he tried to sneak it and stretch because he knew that we were looking and that we were laughing. Finally, after about 45 minutes, the water wagon rolled back around and he looks at all of us and instructs all of us to put mud back on us. He said, y'all can put all the mud that you want on you. You hear me? He said, well, hell, in fact, let me get away from down here. He got off the horse. He didn't put mud on his face, but he damn sure put mud on his arms. You scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours. A Texas prison story. I swear for cheese and crackers.